In this video, we have a really beautiful Bible that I'm so excited to show you. This is from the Holman Handcrafted Collection. And I am so grateful to Holman for sending me a copy of this for review so that I can show it to all of you. The Handcrafted Collection is the highest line of Bibles that they have from Holman publishers. They have other Bibles that are more economical, and they're very nice, very useful, but these are the higher end Bibles in their line. I'm going to show you a comparison of this with another high-end Bible, just to show you how they compare when you get into the premium market of Bibles. But what I will say is it can be a little hit and miss with Bibles when it comes to the premium line, especially with publishers that are doing a lot of mass production. And so, it depends on the particular edition that they produced as to what specific materials they're using and what quality there's going to be. And so I want to show you in this the level of quality, and I think what you're going to see is that with this particular Bible, they've done a really good job. This is the Single-Column Wide-Margin Bible. It is a single-column text format, wide margins, hence the name, topical subject headings, and this is in the marbled slate calfskin leather. So some really cool things to look at with this Bible. With the Handcrafted Collection, you get a beautiful two-piece box. It gives you information on the side here. Both sides give you information about the Bible, and then the back of the box gives you even more information. It does not, from what I can see, list the retail price, but it does retail, at the moment, it retails for $189.99, I believe, so about $190 retail price. If you go online, you can get it usually cheaper than that, and Christian Book right now has a pre-order price that I think is really good, so you might want to check there if you're able to go to christianbook.com. But Amazon will eventually have this, I believe, and other outlets as well. And the Lifeway website as well is another place that you can get this Bible. So looking at this here, just a really well put together presentation. This Bible is going to have a 10-point type size and a black letter text for the words of Christ. And of course, a lot of features that we're used to, Smyth-sewn binding, which is really important for durability and longevity of the text block. And so that's just a basic overview of the box. You also, with the premium collection, have the Bible packaged in this black wrapping paper, and they will also give you a little note card there telling you about the product and the fact that it is in the premium Bible range. So that's a look at the packaging of this, which is very nice. But the important thing, of course, most important thing, is the Bible itself and the look and the quality of this volume. And so just looking at it here, you can see the single column 10-point font format. And I will say this font is really bold in the way that it looks, very boldly printed. It is line matched, so the lines on this side of the page match up with the lines on the other side of the page, and so that helps so that you're not seeing a lot of distracting words coming through. You don't have a lot of show through. There is some show through, which you can probably see here, but it's quite minimal. And something I'll highlight as far as the quality of this particular edition is the paper is really nice. It, to me, feels like a coated paper. It has a coating on it. And it really is up there with other premium Bibles, even in the line of Bibles that are, considered the highest premium Bibles. This paper kind of has that feel to it. We'll see here when we get in to the front material that it is printed in China. But I will say, for a China printing, this is some of the nicest paper I have seen to date. And I'm really impressed with it. Also, the pages you can see here, they're printed with red highlights. and you have on the page edges it's blue and silver there. So you have silver, and then if you turn the page there, you can see under is a blue art gilt. So really nice. The ribbons on this are 3, and you have a gold, a black, and red ribbon, and those are just straight cut ribbons. So black, gold, red. And one thing I would say that I would tweak on this Bible, Holman, this is really nice, but I would tweak the ribbon colors. I think with this color scheme, I would go with, I actually think that the black and the red are okay. Gold, for some reason, to me doesn't really fit, but I would actually probably opt for something like blue ribbons or black with blue ribbons. Maybe silver would be in the color scheme here. You also have, I think you can see here, a gold gilt line framing the text. You can see the margins here are wide margins. On the outside of the page here, you're going to be looking at, and it is actually better if you go to prose, or actually let me do this side of the page. Yeah, so about 1 inch and maybe 3/8, maybe even a little less than that. Over 1 1/4 inch, but about 1 1/4 inch, if you just had to estimate, is probably the size of the margin there on the side. So that's the outside margin. The inside margin, it's going to be harder to write in. You at least have a 1/2 inch there on the inside if you need to write. And then the top and the bottom, they're not really wide margins, just a little over 1/2 inch maybe there. So really when they say wide margin, they're talking about the outside of the text block. As far as the page size itself, you have close to 9 inches there by about 6 inches, 9 by 6 inches. So for a large print Bible, that's a lot of times the size of a Bible. It's about 9 by 6. Now the cover is going to add to that a little bit. Actually, it's about 9 3/4 inches by 7 1/4 inches, maybe even a little more than that. And then about 2 inches thick. So it's not called large print, but this, as you can see here, really is a good size print. And I think this is really what makes this Bible great. It's just got a really good print quality to it, a great look on the page. The typesetting is fantastic. And as I said, the paper is really good. Now, as far as the cover, it's a beautiful cover. It's the Slate is what they call it. The color is Slate Calfskin. It has a very smooth look and feel to it. You can see the printing on the spine. A little hard to see depending on the angle of the lighting, because that spine is a bit curved. It has some nice spine hubs as well. And so I think it has a very simple, clean look to it. And it's pretty easy to hold, actually. It is a large Bible. I would consider it on that larger end, more in a way like a study Bible size. But what you're ultimately getting is good paper. If I had to guess, I think it might be in that 36 GSM range. I'm not 100% sure. It could theoretically be less than that, but I would certainly say it feels like a nice coated paper that has durability to it and feels good. And then, as you can see here with these wide margins and the typesetting, really nice. Now, I've complained before that in the more recent Bibles, I think some of the features of the typesetting looks a little more feminine to me. And I think it's really when you're looking at the titles here, or the titles of the book, you have underneath a little decorative emblem, and maybe it has significance, maybe it's supposed to mean something, but to me, just having a flower there and just the way the typesetting looks, I think it looks a little bit more feminine. I'd like to know in the comments if you agree with that, and I'm curious to see if they will kind of shift away from that a little bit. I think with the typesetting itself for Bibles like this, having something that maybe just looks a little bit more neutral. Still want it to be beautiful. I mean, I think of what the LSB is doing, or Crossway Bibles. In my opinion, those are neutral and yet still very elegant and beautiful. Just a little thought or a little opinion that I have on that. And then you have, of course, really nice looking poetry in the single column format. You have a good amount of space on these pages to really get the lines of poetry there. So I think you can tell I'm kind of raving about this, especially the text block itself. The calfskin is pretty good. Honestly, it's hard to know when you get a new Bible. So with some of these calfskins from Holman, I'd like to see what they look like after a lot of use. Now, I have so many Bibles that it's hard for me to just take a Bible and just use it and use it and use it and use it if it's just a Bible that I have for review. But I'll see if I can get one of these Holman Bibles into the hands of someone I know who could use it a lot, and then I could come back and show what a worn calfskin looks like. I would say, though, if I had to guess, this is going to last pretty well, but not as long as maybe like a Schuyler, and I'm going to show you a Schuyler in a little bit. Anyway, I think what you're seeing here, though, on the whole, is a very well-made Bible. Another thing I want to point out here, if I can find it, I think I can, is at the beginning of the Bible, you will see overcast stitching. So there's extra stitching here, and I will every so often see people ask online on a Facebook Bible group, is this okay? My Bible has this stitching here. And the answer is, it's not only okay, this is a really good thing. What they've done is, not only do you have a Smyth-sewn text block, so all the pages have a sewn binding to them, they've actually done some extra stitching here in order to take the front of this text block and make it extra sturdy. Sometimes they'll do it in the back too, and I don't think they have on this one, but at the very least they have that in the front, because you will see on some Bibles, a lot of times in the front of the Bible, it'll start to separate because of the nature of how books are bound and the use of them. That hinge can really start to cause a separation. So that's another feature of this. It is edge-lined, so you see the cover is tabbed onto the text block here. It has kind of a stiff feel to the cover. I'm not sure what they used with the calfskin. The calfskin is just the outer covering here. This is, it's hard to say. It kind of, I think it might be synthetic on the inside. I could be wrong on that, but it definitely has a stiff feel to it. And it's still nice. I would say it overall gives off a sturdy vibe to it and has a good feel. So in terms of the text block material, I think that is really high up there. In terms of the cover, I would say it's very good. And then as you get in here, you'll see this has a presentation page. It's on cardstock. You have the title page, and then what I call the publisher title page, because it's a repetition, but with the publisher information. And then, as I said, when you get into the copyright page here, you're going to see it is printed in China. And this is the CSB Single-Column Wide-Margin Bible. So I guess when they first produced this text block, it was 2021. This is the 2020 text edition of the CSB. It's the latest update as I'm recording this video. And then over here, you have the table of contents, an introduction to the Christian Standard Bible, all the things that you will typically see at the front of a Christian Standard Bible. That gives you a look at the Old Testament title page, and again, has that decorative emblem there. And I'm sure a lot of people think that looks really nice. It's just adds something a little elegant, pretty to the Bible, but I would like to see it not be maybe quite so feminine looking. That's how I perceive it. Anyway, let me keep going here, and we'll get over to the New Testament. The New Testament also has a title page, and then as we get into the beginning of the New Testament, you can see just this format is really great. So Again, another thing I'd like to hear from you is how would you use this Bible? Is this something that appeals to you? I think having wide margins has a lot of advantages to it. The only disadvantage, of course, is the size. It is a big Bible. But for people who want a Bible that is just like, I want something that's sturdy and I can write in it and it has good size print, they don't mind if the Bible's a bit bigger. And I think that's what you're getting with this. So if you need a Bible to read through, that you want to also have the option of marking in, having place to put your notes and things on the outside, this is a really good Bible for that. And I've reviewed, I think, this type of Bible before, and it's possible that the paper even in that one was like this. I don't remember now because I think it's been years, but I was really impressed with the paper in this. As I said, it seems like a coated paper, and lays really flat as well. The text does not go down into the gutter at all. I mean, even in the middle of the Bible here, yeah, you can see there's still really good space. Of course, this is all poetry, but even if you're in prose, I think you'll see plenty of space in the inner margins so that the text is on the top of the page. The other thing you're seeing here, and I know people are going to really like this too, books of the Bible are on new pages. So anytime there's a new book of the Bible, it's going to have the start of that book on a new page. And even a little book like 3rd John is just going to have its own page. Jude, also a small book of the Bible, although that is actually the front and back of a page. And then as we get to the end of the Bible here, we'll see what's in the back. And you will see that it ends on page 1855. So that would be on the larger end of Bibles. That's a higher page count. Not necessarily the highest I've ever seen, but that's pretty up there. Whereas thin line Bibles that try to use less pages would be quite a few pages less than that, hundreds of pages less than that. But this is not about being a thin Bible, obviously, as you can tell. The table of weights and measures in the back, concordance. One thing, again, that I would tweak about this Bible is go ahead and make the print bigger. I know it's a big Bible, and I know probably the argument from Holman would be, well, it's just going to add to the cost, and it's going to make the Bible too big. Okay, then I don't know if it's worth having it in here for most people. I'm not sure, but I think just like with Schuyler Bibles, that can be a weakness. They have this extra space for a concordance, but then they give you the tiniest print. Look at that print that they're expecting you to be able to read versus the Bible print. So I would say, yeah, it would add some pages, but even if to bump that up a couple of points in the font size would probably be better. But I understand, there are trade-offs with everything, and this is a big Bible. I understand that, they were kind of getting to the point where they could only fit so much in the size that they wanted. You have your typical Lockman maps. I will say on this particular Bible, they have printed them almost the full size of the page. There's still some margin space, which is fine, looks good. Some Holman Bibles, these maps don't always fit the page very well, from what I remember. But these fit the page very nicely, and their color, they're not my favorite maps as far as the look and color scheme, but they have useful information. They are very nice maps. So on the whole, what you're getting here, honestly, is a really good looking Bible, and especially the text block itself, really good material from what I can tell. It is made in China, so that has its downside, but I will say the cost of this, it retails for $190. You can get it probably quite a bit cheaper than that, but you can get it somewhat cheaper than that. And if we compare this now to a Schuyler Bible, and I wanted to show something that has some similarities to it. This is also single column, also has a similar color scheme with more of a gray cover. calfskin and silver page edges with blue art gilt, wide margin, right? So this is sounding very familiar. It's possible, maybe even probable, that they were inspired by the Schuyler design here when they created this. And that's one thing I love about Schuyler, is they really are setting trends. And other publishers will, in a way, kind of copy what they're doing. Sometimes they will just totally copy what they're doing. Maybe putting a Jerusalem cross on the front of another Bible. Anyway, Schuyler Bibles are setting a trend, and I wanted to show you this partly because the materials here are going to be the highest end of a Bible publisher that's somewhat mass-producing Bibles. Now, the Schuyler Bibles, this is their emblem here. You can get them at evangelicalbible.com. If you like what you're seeing here, but you want even better material, this is the kind of Bible you might want to get, but it is going to be more expensive. You're going to spend, I think this is going to cost at least $230 at the moment, upwards of maybe $250 or more. So it's considerably more expensive than this Bible. And is the difference that much? Well, I will say the calfskin, in my opinion, does feel, it does seem to have more of a sturdy feel to it. And that's hard to gauge just by looking at it. Again, these are both really unused Bibles. And so I'd have to use them both a lot to know. But if I had to guess, I would say this does seem like it's going to last longer. Something about this doesn't seem, and maybe it's not the top grain. I'm not sure. I don't want to say something out of ignorance, but I would say just something about this seems a little less quality than this cover. This cover, you can see, has a grain to it. It's possible this is the top grain. So yeah, that would cost more. You can also see the printing on this is very nice. Both of these, though, have, really nice looking covers. But I think this is sturdier. And then I also like the color scheme on this Bible. I like how they just used 3 blue ribbons, angle cut, which I think goes really nice with this color scheme. And again, with this one, they just use kind of the generic color scheme that I think they have in their other Bibles. Yeah, the head and tail bands, that's this little band here. That one, I think, on this Bible is gray. And on the Schuyler, it is blue and white. And then as far as the text block, I believe this one here is printed in the Netherlands. And with this Bible, it kind of looks like they start the book of the Bible on a new page, because this particular book of the Bible does. But that is not always the case with this Bible. So here's an example. I finally found one. The book of Hebrews does not start on its own page, on its own new page. So you have the book of Philemon ending here at the top of the page, and it goes right into the book of Hebrews. Whereas I think if we go over here to the book of Hebrews, you're going to see that it starts on its own page. And again, this paper and text block, it's actually pretty comparable to what I'm seeing in this Bible. And I think this is the 36 GSM, and this one here, it feels pretty similar. So I gotta say, Holman, great job. And I would just encourage Holman, don't be afraid to keep using really good materials, even if it costs more. I think at the end of the day, if someone has to pay $20 more, but they're going to see reviews like this where we're comparing it to the highest end Bibles, it's going to really make this product look good. And I think that's what you're seeing here. So I highly recommend this Bible. My only thing that I would say isn't quite as nice from what I can tell is the cover compared to the Schuyler. I think the cover of the Schuyler is a better quality cover. But, the other thing I think you can tell here, this is just a formatting thing. With the CSB from what I know, you can only get something like this with the wide margin single column in a paragraph format, whereas the Strident is what this one is called from Schuyler. This has verse by verse format, but you can't get a Strident in the paragraph format. You know, that's just the way it is. And also the Strident is only available in certain translations from Schuyler at the moment, and the CSB is not one of them from what I know. That may change. That could change. And I think Bibles like this, if Holman, you know, is really onto something here and people really like this, I could see Schuyler saying, yeah, that's a sign we need to do a single column wide margin in our line of Bibles in the CSB. So let me know what you think about that as well. Would you like to see a verse by verse CSB single column? I think the print in this one, because when they made this a wide margin Bible, if I remember correctly, this Schuyler Strident, they brought the font size down a little bit to create more wide margin space. But there are the earlier Stridents have a little bit larger font, and I actually think that this font is more like the original Strident. So what's interesting is this is 36 GSM paper, has the wide margins, but it's actually a little bit smaller font, I think. I think this is like a 9.5 maybe in the Schuyler, and this is a 10 point. So when you're comparing a Bible like this to a Schuyler, and you're seeing really good things here in terms of the material quality and the look of the print, that really says something about what Holman has produced here. Excellent Bible from Schuyler, and I do highly recommend these. I have a review of this and other Bibles from Schuyler on my channel. But if you want something that's a little bit more affordable, and especially if you want a CSB Bible in this format, this is the Handcrafted Collection of the Single Column Wide Margin Bible. I think that's a pretty thorough look. Sorry if I've rambled on too much, but I'd love to hear in the comments if you have any questions or comments about this Bible. And thank you so much for taking a look at this with me from a first perspective.